Hello, everybody. Welcome to BK Live. It's our last show of the week. My name is Greg
It's
Johnson.
our last show already?
Yeah.
It's Thursday. God bless you. I'm Brian Vines.
And speaking of Thursday, thank you to everyone who watches the show that I do on Thursday nights.
What's the name of that show?
Stand Up Brooklyn.
All right.
Every Thursday night and every weeknight, too. You can also check it out on YouTube. Google it. Look for it tonight at 9 p.m.
Yeah.
It's on against off-track betting, and early indicators show that the ratings are killing off-track
We're
betting.
coming for you, OTB. Watch your back down there with your little cigarette stubs on the floor.
Thank you for watching that show and all the new fall shows here. Brick.
There's so many great things. The show about the show, Hilaire, as well as Stand Up Brooklyn, Hilaire. Tonight, we're doing a live episode of B-Side in the studio with a guy who sat at this table for the Brooklyn Hip Hop Festival. Skyzy's going to be here tonight. So get down if you want to see him live, but we'll remind you again later.
Those are great shows. You can hang out at the cafe or you can be here in the studio, which is a great vibe to listen to,
BRIC TV, y'all.
live music here in the studio.
It really is like Brooklyn without boundaries.
Yes, it really is.
On BRIC TV.
There's truth in that. We have an excellent show today. Now, should community colleges be free in New York? As the New York Post reported last week, the state has one of the nation's highest rates for community college tuition, charging students in New York City $4,800 a year and $4,200 a year for those outside the city. But the Post also reported that Governor Cuomo wants to put $500 million towards the goal of free tuition. And coming up, we'll talk to two supporters of his proposal, including Brooklyn's only public community college president. No surprise, this kind of government spending always generates skepticism, and we'll ask them about that too.
Well, some people just like hanging out at cemeteries, as long as they know they can get out alive. For example, my co-host here went to Brooklyn's greatest graveyard and was able to talk his way inside the catacombs.
It's creepy.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to show you later with Greg's latest Big Ups Brooklyn, this time at Greenwood Cemetery.
Boom. Stay tuned for that. Unlike the residents of Greenwood, the folks in Bedford-Stuyvesant will be full of life starting this Saturday when Bed-Stuy Alive celebrates its 11th anniversary. In partnership with Restoration Plaza, the festival runs a full week of shows off how vibrant, culturally and commercially, the neighborhood is. We'll talk to the woman in charge and a renowned jazz pianist who's being honored with an award by the community there.
Well, once you've spent some time at Bed-Stuy Alive, then what? Well, there are plenty of hours in the weekend, right? That's why it's imperative that you wait till the end of today's show to hear Dick and Dave's recommendations. How about a screening of Shaun of the Dead in Sunset Park? Perhaps that'll get your blood pumping.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
We'll end with some free stuff to do this weekend with those two, but we'll begin with free tuition. That's in just a moment when we take a look at Andrew Cuomo's $500 million proposal. Love that.
back in January, President Obama proposed a federal program to make community college tuition free for millions of students. It's an ambitious plan, to be sure, that would expand educational opportunities across the United States. But could it work? One model that people are carefully watching is in Tennessee, where Tennessee Promise, a scholarship and mentoring program that covers tuition and fees, is being piloted. Well, here in New York, Governor Cuomo apparently likes the idea, and last week he confirmed that he's in talks with the White House about the affordability of a potential statewide push for free community college.
The governor has allegedly pledged $500 million to make it happen. Is the plan fiscally responsible? Well, some even say that free tuition only creates higher costs down the road. What will the impact be on the colleges themselves? We'll ask our guest, President Farley Harzek of Kingsborough Community College. Welcome back to BK Live. Thank you very much for being here, President.
Thank you, thank you.
And also joining us is Luba Cortez, a youth leader for Make the Road New York. Thank you for being here, Luba. Thank you both for being here.
So, President Harzek, Herzog, I'm sorry.
You got it.
If, see, I need to go back to school with that free tuition.
Yes.
So
yes.
if Tennessee can do it, surely we can do it here in New York. They hardly go to school there.
Well, I am certain we can do it here. Community college is the great equalizer. It is the pathway to middle class and above. I've seen over my lifetime the nature of work change and the requirements of work change. And, years ago, a high school education was able to launch you into the middle class. Now, some type of post-secondary experience is required to launch you into middle class and above. And the thought of spending $500 million or investing, we shouldn't say spending, it's an investment in New York City. Think about how many middle class families will blossom from something like this, and think of how many taxpayers will be paying back into the system. So it's just an opportunity to create greater vibrancy in our neighborhoods and communities.
How do you see it working in terms of the current plan and the current funding, $500 million? How do you see it being implemented so that everyone receives a free education? Is that how it's going to work?
Sure. Well, we have the bones of the process right now with TAP, which is the New York State Tuition Assistance Program. So we know how to do it. Just the challenge is to get more resources into the hands of students. Yeah. So everybody understands that community college is free, and we are able to accommodate that many more students on our campuses.
So Luba, we know that you are a youth advocate and a dreamer as well. So what impact would this potential $500 million and the possibility of free community college tuition mean to folks who you interact with that Make the Road?
I think that education is a fundamental human right, and just having access to that improves your quality of life. I believe that having access to free education would allow us to become better people for New York. I think this is an amazing opportunity. I think it's long overdue. And I think the governor should really take the initiative to start making this a reality, especially for undocumented students that have been fighting for the DREAM Act, and for all the students that want to go to college but can't because of lack of resources, such as
students
myself.
Fighting for the DREAM Act benefit from this as well, or is there some kind of citizenship test or something?
So we want to make sure that if this does come into the table, that it includes undocumented students, because often these students are left in the back room of all the conversations about education. So we want to make sure if there is going to be an opportunity for students to get access to free education, that undocumented students can be part of that. There's no requirements to make this difficult, because education should not be something you have to fight for, but it should be, like I said, a right.
How sustainable is this plan? I mean, what would you say to people that say, it's $500 million, but it's just a one-time implementation? I mean, is it sustainable down the road for years to come and generations to come?
I certainly think it is sustainable. Again, it's to be looked upon as a long-term investment, an investment in the citizens of the state of New York. If we could get that many more people as contributors in neighborhoods and communities, and when I mean by contributors, people who are in stable jobs, career ladder jobs, who are able to contribute to local neighborhoods and communities, certainly the answer is yes. It comes down to basically doing the math. Do you have more people who are requiring assistance from the state, or after such an investment like this, you will have a significantly number of more people who contribute back to the state in taxes and whatever else they can bring to communities and neighborhoods.
Well, one of the problems facing community colleges in the CUNY system has been retention traditionally. Now, do you think that this will go into terms of helping students be able to stay and afford college without the burden of having to find outside money? Has that been the problem with retention, or has it been students simply falling away or maybe not being prepared for the college level courses?
I'd say it's a combination of all of that, plus, as we say at Kingsborough, life happens for our students. But at Kingsborough, retention and completion are our #1 priorities. Yes, it would be great to be able to have more students access higher education, but it's equally important to have that many more students complete their educational and achieve their educational goals.
So is $500,000 going to help to sort of quell the retention problem? Like, if you had to say a split, like how many kids fall away just because of money things versus life happening to them?
I would say that this would have a tremendous impact. We ran focus groups with students last year as to what were their greatest stressors, what makes students fall away from going to college. And the 4 greatest stressors were not in necessarily this order. Tuition,
Right.
the cost of tuition, so that would be taken off the table. The cost of textbooks,
Again,
where we
money.
can get some assistance through Pell, and
Right.
students who would qualify for this would also receive Pell funding. The cost of MTA cards. Our students travel 2 and 3 hours a day
Just to get to class.
to get to class. That's $5.50. If they have to take a bus and a train and another bus,
Yeah.
that's $11 a day. And the 4th item that was a big stressor for our students was food. Food for themselves and food for their families. So if we can deal with the economic issues of our students, that's a big part of retaining our students.
What do you say to somebody at home who might say, well, I want to get involved in this, I want to go to Kingsborough College and get some of the $500 million to do so? How do people take advantage of the program?
Well, first I think we have to see it being
Right.
implemented.
Right.
And I think that, you know, one of the things that you were mentioning as someone that is not in school right now, because CUNY tuitions are just so hefty, once we have access to this free education, I'm pretty sure that the retention rate will go up and students will be able to stay in school. I think it's just important to actually have this implemented. And just also to make sure that the resources where the $500 million will be coming from are taken from the wealthy or from subsidies that corporations are getting and stuff like that, and not from resources that are already coming to programs for the community.
Well, this is not a new thing. The governor may say, I'm going to kick in $500 million one time, but if we're relying on the governor to kick in $500 million every non-election year, something tells me tuition is going to come back.
Well, this is not something New York has not done in the past. New York State has been a leader in free and low-cost tuition in the past.
Can you give us some context? Because I know college tuition was free at CUNY until 1976, so it's been done before.
Correct, and I am that context. My parents were immigrants to this country. My dad got off a boat, couldn't speak a word of English, and he had access to education, higher education, to learn English. I'm a product of the CUNY system.
Yeah.
We grew up in a middle-class home, maybe a little less than middle-class home, and I had access to that free CUNY education. I went to Brooklyn College. I went to City College up on 137th Street.
Yeah.
Tuition was free, and
You're the president of a college.
And I sit here in
Yeah.
a suit and tie because I had the benefit of that. Those stressors were off my plate.
Is there something people can do to like get involved and urge the governor to get this, program passed?
I think that especially young people that would be affected by this should get involved in community organizations that are going to be advocating for this. They should also try to do something within their schools and just rally up the students, because I'm sure this is something that would gather mass support, especially because it's free education. Who doesn't want to go to school for free?
Mm-hmm. How do people get involved in your organization?
So we have 4 locations across New York, so they could stop by in our Brooklyn office and our Queens office and get involved with us.
So I know that back in December, the New York City Council's higher education chair, Inez Barron, and her husband, who held the chair before her, were very big advocates and proponents of bringing the zero tuition back. Like even back in 2011, remember when tuition went up by like $300 and there was the sit-in and all the police and stuff? So there have been several plans since then. So they were talking about in a city council, not a city council, state assembly person, James Skoufis, wanted to introduce the bill that you were talking about earlier that would take money away from the business community, where they were supposed to be providing for community investments and not really using that money well, and they would divert that money into these students. So if the city has been trying and the state assembly has been trying, do you think that the president is going to ultimately be able to get this done in New York with the help of the governor?
I think yes.
Yeah.
Again, I think it's a great investment and a great launch-off platform for the president of the United States and for our governor. If this could be done in the largest urban city and most diverse city in the United States, it could be done anywhere. And that's why I think there is so much interest in having New York as a launch point for this.
What are the feelings amongst the other presidents of the community colleges here in New York City? Do they all share your sentiments?
Every single president shares the same sentiments. If we could increase access, certainly with access goes along retention and student success, but if we can't get them in the door onto our property to begin with, how can we assist? We can't.
So there was a stat that CUNY released saying 85% of their graduates enter the workforce without student debt. So how many people are we talking about that are burdened by debt or falling away because they can't? Like the system has how many, like 200,000 students? Or about 275 in the CUNY system?
We serve about 250,000 students on credit and another 250,000 in continuing education. So yes, I think it will still have a tremendous impact, because I know we are losing students regularly as they're trying to complete their coursework. You're talking about, that's a stat of students who finish, but there are a large number of students, unfortunately, who do not finish because they're burdened by the cost of higher education.
Do they leave with a bill?
Many leave with a bill, yes.
And not a degree?
And not a degree. They leave us owing money. We do everything short of breaking any certain state or federal laws when it comes to financial aid, but we try and be as creative as possible in students best utilizing their financial aid. But between TAP and Pell, it's quite difficult.
And Luba, when it comes down to it, you really think that this is going to make an impact on the street level life of folks in the community?
Of course. I mean, all the young people that I work with, the majority of them can't afford to go to school. I mean, this is something that they've been fighting for a long time. And I think it would create tremendous change. And I just can't wait to see it implemented.
When would it get implemented?
That is not up to me. It's up to some higher forces. But in looking at the impact, right now in the greater New York City area, there are 350,000 people between the ages of 16 and 25 who are not at work and not in school.
Yeah.
Okay? Could you imagine having 350,000 more contributors to our neighborhoods and communities, people who have that much more skin in the game? I live in Bedford-Stuyvesant, and great neighborhood. 25% of the folks in that demographic, the folks who live in Bed-Stuy between 16 and 25, are not in work and not in school. Again, could you imagine the impact of free tuition and would have in that great community, my great community of Bed-Stuy?
We want to thank you both very much for being here and talking about this, and we'll continue the conversation in the future, perhaps. Thank you for taking the time to be here on BK Live, though. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Definitely
Thanks,
be
Luba.
watching out. All right. Well, it's tough to book world-famous celebrities, even for a show as great as the one you're watching. But Greg figured out that all we need to do is wait until they're no longer alive. You'll see what I mean as we bring you a brand new episode of Big Ups from Brooklyn's Greenwood Cemetery.
Brooklyn's Greenwood Cemetery is home to over 575,000 graves spread out over 470 acres. But what does it all mean? Hi, I'm Greg Johnson. On this edition of Big Ups Brooklyn, let's take a look inside this National Historic Landmark and see what we discover. Big Ups! Hey, what's your name?
I'm Jeff Richmond. I'm the historian here at Greenwood Cemetery.
Oh, it's nice to meet you. I'm Greg Johnson.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Jeff, what is it that we're looking at here?
This is a statue of DeWitt Clinton, who was the man in the first part of the 19th century in New York, the most revered of New Yorkers, and even presidential candidate. He came within Pennsylvania of being the president of the United States in 1812, that election, which you may remember.
So how old is this statue?
It dates back to 1853.
It's held up so well, like others around here.
It gets waxed every year to kind of keep the weather off of it.
That's great. As Jeff and I journeyed through this charming necropolis, he regaled me with countless narratives about the tombstones, some related to my college and my Brooklyn Dodgers baseball cap. I forgot them immediately. Others stuck with me. So, Jeff, what are we happening upon here?
This is Battle Hill, which is a real focal point of the cemetery. Dates back to the American Revolution and the Battle of Brooklyn. The greatest triumph of the Patriot forces during that battle occurred up on this hill. We are looking over Minerva's shoulder towards the Statue of Liberty, and so the Statue of Liberty has her right arm raised with her torch, and Minerva has her left arm raised saluting the Statue of Liberty.
And what about the umbrellas in between on top of that new apartment building? When did those arrive?
Well, since Minerva has been here, we have this historic view that has existed for almost a century now. And within the last 5-7 years, that building went up on the corner, and we had something of a battle.
Was it a Battle of Brooklyn?
It was the second Battle of Brooklyn, that's correct.
Wow. Okay. I'm speechless. It was really cool to meet Minerva. But the solitude of the burial ground had me contemplating questions of great significance. What does it all mean? What can the dead teach the living? What kind of a bird is that? I felt inspired to discover the meaning of my own life. But first, let's check out some dead celebs. So, was it Leonard Bernstein?
No, it's actually Bernstein is the correct pronunciation.
Is it Leonard or is it Leonard?
Actually, I think it's Leonard, but we refer to him sometimes as Lenny, which was, I think, more in popular culture, the reference to him.
Okay. That's cool.
In life, Lenny would sit on that very bench I shared with Jeff to meditate on his existence and visit the graves of loved ones buried beneath the brush of the family plot. With that, and this love letter to Jean-Michel, I realize the graveyard exists for all Brooklynites to reflect on where they come from and where they are going, whether below ground or above.
Wow, what is this in here that we're going into?
This is called the 30 vaults, and so you have families that bought each of these vaults, and there are crypts here where people could be buried without fear of being buried alive in the ground. We still hear reports today of people being declared dead, and 3 hours later they're not so dead, or funerals being held and people waking up. And so in the 19th century, where medicine was undoubtedly much more primitive than it is today, people were even more afraid of that.
You make me think I want an above-ground burial. What do you think?
I think it can't hurt.
So why is Greenwood Cemetery so important to the history of Brooklyn?
Greenwood offers something that no other place in Brooklyn does, and it's a mixture of life and death, but it's a mixture of trees and grass and quiet and discovery. There are so many levels at which people can enjoy this place that they really should come out here, not with preconceived notions, but with the idea of let's look around the place, and I'm sure they will love it as much as we do here.
Well, Jeff, it was really nice to meet you. I hope to come back and see you again sometime very soon.
Great to meet you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for everything.
Great, thanks.
Yo, Jeff is the man. I was very grateful he took the time to show me around Greenwood and perfectly sum up its importance, so I don't have to. Whatever it was I found here today, it wasn't the exit. From still inside Greenwood Cemetery, I'm Greg Johnson.
Big ups. Brooklyn.
He
Yes.
escaped.
Jeff, I got out. I got out of the cemetery.
Still inside of Brooklyn's Greenwood Cemetery.
I highly recommend everyone go to the cemetery and everyone take a tour from Jeff, the historian that was in the video. He's unbelievable, and there's so much to learn there about the history of the cemetery and about the people that are buried there. And it's just a great place to reflect.
Can you still be buried there? Are they full up?
No, you can still be buried there. I think that they do several burials a year.
No
you
rush,
have to,
no rush.
Yeah, no rush. You have
life.
to have a family plot, or you have to be related to somebody that's
know a
buried
guy?
there. Yeah, you got to know a guy. It's
All
like
right.
it's a hip place.
It's an exclusive club.
To spend the rest of your life.
People
or
are
the
dying to
rest
get
of
in.
Eternity. Yes, Greenwood Cemetery. My thanks to Chris Raditz, who's great, and Jeff Richmond. I cannot stress enough how great a historian he is and all the great stuff that he does there.
It looks like a buddy comedy to me. I think you two should go on the road.
Yeah, please. I'd love it. Okay, moving on. This Saturday is the kickoff for the week-long Bed-Stuy Alive, which brings the neighborhood and plenty of visitors out for street events, live music, studio tours, food, shopping, and it culminates in the 37th annual house tour.
Has it been 37 years already?
37 years.
Yowza. Well, there are also awards, one of them named for one of the festival's founders, Toma Y. Faulkner, and joining us right now, surprise, surprise, is her sister, who's the chair of Bed-Stuy Alive, Stephanie Faulkner. Thank you, and welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, and we're honored to have one of this year's awardees, too. This year's Art and Culture Trailblazer is jazz composer and pianist Ed Stout. Great to have you on the show, Mr. Stout.
It's great to be here.
Thank you for watching. We know you watch at home sometimes. We're happy that you made it to the table. Thank you for bringing a lovely guest with you. So 37 years on into Bed-Stuy Alive. I've only lived in Bed-Stuy for about 2.5 years now, but I haven't missed a Bed-Stuy Alive since I've been there.
Great.
It's an awesome party.
Thank you so much.
But it's more than just like a party in the streets. Tell us about why Bed-Stuy Alive.
Well, Bed-Stuy Live was about letting people know the culture that's going on in Bedford-Stuyvesant, the things, the community, the programs that we have there. The organizations, we work with each other to bring programs for the children, for the adults, for the seniors, for the community entirely. We try to let everybody know what's going on, what we have to offer. We do a lot of volunteer work. The people from the community board, Bridge Street, our collective that we have, Bridge Street Development, Bedford-Stuyvesant Restoration, the Brownstones of Bedford-Stuyvesant, who has their 37th Brownstone Tour. Yeah. You know, we just do so much work to let everybody know what's going on, what you can do, and if you can't find it, if you have a question, you get the right person, one of us, we have found the answer for you, where you can go to get the help, the information that you need to do what you want to do.
Awesome.
Ed, when did you begin your career in music? I want to know how it led to you being honored at Bed-Stuy Live.
Well, I began playing professionally at the age of 18, and I'm 80 now, so
oh, wow.
It's been a while. Been a minute or two, you might say. But I began way back. I just started doing little small gigs around Brooklyn. But then I got to work in the Brooklyn Baby Grand back in the early 60s. And they had like shows, like you had a shake dancer. The girls did not take off all their clothes.
They left something to the imagination then.
It was different. You had a comic MC, and you might have a blues or a rock and roll singer. You would also have a jazz singer. Mm-hmm. So that was the show, and of course the band. And it was an enjoyable thing. It was pretty nice. 2-3 shows a night.
Wow.
Right on the corner of Fulton and Nostrand. Oh, and wow. We also played at the Harlem Baby Grand on Mondays when that band was off.
Right.
But that was one of those things. And then I started playing with the Illinois Jackette. A lot of people don't know who Illinois Jackette is, but he was the one that was out of the Lionel Hampton band, and he played this tune, Flying Home. And his solo was so dynamic that all of the saxophone players in the world were trying to play that solo. Mm-hmm. You know, that was Illinois. That was a quartet. Later on here, I played in a big band starting in 1998. Yeah. We traveled to Europe a few times, you know. I've been to Japan, I've been to Brazil.
And you always come home to Bed-Stuy.
Come home to Bed-Stuy. Gotta come back home.
And you pointed at your heart when you said Bed-Stuy. So this is what it's all about then. We have these community resources and great elders in the community who are still out there doing it and being honored. Thank you. And there's young people who are coming up doing new things and bending those traditions as well.
Yes, you know, we try to also encourage our youth, and we find talent with our youth. We try to expand that into the community, encourage others to do the same if that's what they're interested in. Right. We have an array of talent in Bedford-Stuyvesant, and that's what we try to bring out to the Bed-Stuy Live each and every year of all ages.
What can people expect as far as programming for this year's Bed-Stuy Alive?
Well, this year we have the famous pianist, Mr. Stout. We have our community champion, Nelson M. Stout, who does tremendous work in the community.
No relation?
No relation. Isn't it amazing?
I know Nelson, though.
Wonderful work he does in the community. If there's sanitation, any kind of problems Bedford-Stuyvesant have or issues, once he sees that someone brings it to him, he goes to the city agency and try to have it corrected. Yeah. It's really wonderful, the type of people that we have in the community that's really trying to help and maintain the community. Yeah. And we also have those who have different types of talents as far as making clothes, sewing clothes, arts and crafts, Black African art, all that to offer at our Bed-Stuy Alive. And you'll be able to purchase it, you'll be able to buy some food, good food.
From your neighbor.
Directly from Bed-Stuy Alive on Fulton Street with lovely music, great artists.
Yeah, it's a good time. Like, I'm already convinced. You don't have to sell me. It's always a good time. But are we going to be enjoying the musical stylings of Mr. Stout? Can you be persuaded to perform this year for Bed-Stuy Live?
I would love to.
Yeah?
I'm performing right now. Right now I'm working in Harlem. I'm playing at the Minton's Supper Club.
Okay.
118th and St. Nick's. So I'm up there on Sunday brunches and some Wednesday nights. You know, they have a schedule, Harlem what is the name? Well, you could get it, Minton's, if
Yeah,
you
it's
just
in Harlem.
Google it out. It's in Harlem. Harlem is busy. You know, a lot of folks come through all of the clubs.
Right.
We recently performed for one party, and Colin Powell was there.
Very cool.
And the next one was Jesse Norman's birthday.
Well, you have to invite them to Bed-Stuy this weekend. They can come and party with us.
I would love to have them come here.
What about the Toma Faulkner Awards that are happening at the festival this year?
Okay, well, the Toma Faulkner Awards was created once my sister passed in 2008. She was like one of the members of the, she was actually the founder of the Bed-Stuy Alive. She felt that the community had a lot to offer, and she wanted everyone to know what we had to offer, so she created the Bed-Stuy Alive. And with the help of all the programs in Bedford-Stuyvesant, it came to be Bed-Stuy Alive. And through that, she created the entrepreneur, our famous entrepreneur, our cultural artist, the community award, the community champion award. There's an award for the service community, which we're given to 81st Precinct and 79th Precinct, to Detective Jenkins and Officer Brown for the work that they do. The precincts in our neighborhood do a tremendous amount of work with us. We really work together with both precincts in the neighborhood. And also this year, we are celebrating 150 years for the FDNY. Cool. They're also going to be awarded this year for the service they have done, saving the lives and stopping fires and preventing people from losing their lives in the fire.
So, given all the history that you have in Bed-Stuy, I have a question. What is your favorite part of Bed-Stuy?
Well, my favorite part of Bed-Stuy is pretty much where I live right now. I'm on the McDonald-Stuyvesant Avenue area. Yeah. That's a nice area. I like that area. It's very nice.
Stephanie, do you have a favorite part of Bed-Stuy, like the culture, the people?
My backyard.
All right, we'll go.
Yes.
Why is it your backyard?
Because it's nice, spacious, quiet. I can sit back there, watch movies, listen to music. Kids are out there playing, and it's just peace, heaven on earth.
We're invited.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Any day
And
of
we
the week.
always have Oktoberfest every Sunday, breakfast in the backyard.
Really?
For the neighbors, yes.
Oh, wow. Brian's a neighbor?
Like, yeah, I'm a quick bike ride away. I'm right on
Yeah,
Gates.
I'm just a
good.
few miles.
You're welcome, you're welcome.
Excellent.
I have to say, I've lived in New York going on 13 years this December, and I've lived a lot of places, but Bed-Stuy is the place I feel most comfortable. When I moved in, I called my mom and said, okay, I think this is it. It feels like home. So thanks for being a neighbor.
Oh, you're quite
I
welcome.
appreciate it. And the tremendous work you guys have been doing for almost 40 years now.
Yes, yes.
They're not new to it.
Yes, not at all. And the Brownstones tour for Bedford-Stuyvesant next is October the 17th.
All right.
That's 37 years of house tours. And the money, the proceeds that's raised from that, it goes to a scholarship for students that graduate from our Boys and Girls High.
Awesome.
It helps them with their college.
So get your tickets now.
Yes.
Because they do sell out, and the houses are phenomenal. Like, you'll go in there, you thought the Cosbys were doing it. Wait till you see some of the houses
Exactly.
on the Brownstones tour. Phenomenal.
Thank you.
for
Looking
being
forward to
here.
Bed-Stuy Alive. And Ed,
Congratulations,
congratulations
sir.
on
Thank
your
you so
prolific
much.
music career and your
so
award.
much.
Still
Well
doing it in
deserved.
Harlem. All right.
Thank you very much.
All right.
See you soon.
All right, coming up, Dick and Dave give us their weekend picks, but first, the jazz that at Stout plays is music that way back came out of the sounds of Africa. Now here from B-Side is a Brooklyn-based group whose sound is also Africa-based. Let's listen to Underground System performing Afro Brats.
All right, that was Afro Brat from Underground Systems. B-side is tonight, Come Down, but our weekend warriors have arrived, our guides to the universe that is Brooklyn. I'm talking about Dick and Dave, whose government names are Richard Burroughs of the Brooklyn Reader. Check.
Oi, oi.
Welcome. And David Colon of Brooklyn.com.
Let's go Mets.
Go Mets. No sports jersey today.
No, I don't have
Cubs
the
got
only
lost.
Mets shirt I have is comically oversized.
Right.
So
This show's all about comedy
I,
when you two arrive.
it's but like awkward, I don't know, just an awkward thing.
Where are you
to
watching
wear.
the Mets Friday night?
I have to actually listen in the car. I'm going down to Pittsburgh to see my girlfriend's family. So I will have to
Enough said.
listen and not veer off the road.
Pittsburgh's a nice town. They put French fries in salads.
They do, and they put, I had a sandwich
the
there
bomb.
once
Fun fact.
with pierogies on a pulled pork sandwich.
Yeah.
At the
Pierogies
Pirates
on
Stadium.
pulled
It was
pork. Oh my God.
it was something.
Is Pittsburgh in the playoffs as well?
They
They
no,
lost.
they just lost last night.
Oh,
sadly.
the one game?
Yeah.
I was pulling for them. I like the Pirates.
Go Mets,
Go
though.
Cubbies.
Go Mets.
Go Cubs.
Go Cubs.
Go
Right.
Mets.
Tonight.
What's going on in Brooklyn this
Kill the
weekend,
Cardinals.
Dave? Let's start with you. What's good on Brooklyn?
You could just watch the Mets all weekend. That's actually my real recommendation is just go to a bar like Rocky Sullivan's or Alibi or something and just watch the Mets.
As an
but
alternative to that.
I guess if you
could.
don't want to do that, there's a few things going on. There's you could do like a brunch, an opera brunch, or you could go to this. It's not quite midnight. Pine Box Rock Shop used to have like a late night show that was in the back room, and it got like too popular. So that
I hate
late
when
night
that
show moved on. But now they have a new late night show, and their host, do you know that guy, Greg? He's on the special without Brett Davis.
Yes.
I cannot remember his name at the moment, but he's a funny guy. So anybody that's going to get him as the crowd announcer, he does. I love this crowd. He does like very awkwardly timed comedy that like kind of interacts with the crowd. So if he's
That
the
sounds like
announcer,
some of my comedy.
yeah, it's gonna be great. So that is happening at Pine Box.
One of the best places to play Big Buck Hunter in all
It's true.
of
They
New
do
York
have
City.
Big Buck Hunter, and they have vegan empanadas and
Oh, wow, that's
They're
right.
legit.
yes,
down there.
bunch of
All
drinks.
right.
So get there
Very Brooklyn.
Friday night.
Shoot
that.
something and then eat something vegan. Right? You shoot an animal and then you eat something vegan.
It's all digital.
So Brooklyn.
Top that, top that.
Well, I don't know how many of you folks are roller skaters, but different than inline skating, which is kind of like more of like transportation, and roller skating is more like an activity. It's very fun. It's kind of old school as well, like harking back to like the older New York, like when it had the Roxy and Brooklyn had the Empire
Before
Skate
the
Ring.
internet.
Empire Skate, exactly. Skating is so pre-internet, and it's $10, but the skate rental is $5. Perhaps you have your own skates. I think people that have their own skates are pretty rad.
Brian does.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, a black pair and a white pair.
Oh, nice.
Switch it up. One black, one white.
And that's on 110 Kosciuszko Street, and it's like an old school. So it's a throwback. It's like an old school skating ring.
There you go.
Something very much cool to do in Brooklyn on the weekends.
And if you're a city
skating. Friday
employee or you work for or you belong to the YMCA, you go for $8.
Right. Which is really cool. Like
That's great.
giving props to the city workers and the folks that keep
Yeah.
the city moving.
I belong to the YMCA.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
to brag. Can't you tell?
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
And roller skating's hard. So if you don't want to roller skate, you could see.
That's hard.
Roller skating is hard. I
I
tried to do
agree.
it at Lakeside,
I
and
can't
I
roller
like
skate.
almost
Dude,
fell
I
over.
cannot do
I
it.
thought I could do it.
Really?
I thought
I
it would
cannot
be
do
like muscle memory, and it just.
Come on, guys.
I'm sorry.
So you could see Buffy the Vampire Slayer at Diker Beach Park out in Diker Heights if you want
I've
on
never seen
Saturday
that
night.
movie.
You've never seen the original
never
Buffy
seen
the
it
movie?
either.
The movie is great.
I never even
It's
saw
fun.
the series.
Christy Swanson,
her.
killing vampires.
She's
That's
a babe.
it's Paul Rubens who she's stabbing with a
Pee-wee?
stick.
Pee-wee, bro.
Pee-wee.
I know
Pee-wee
he's
is a
in it.
vampire. He's like an ineffective vampire in the movie,
creepy
if I
vampire, right?
recall it correctly. So at Diker Beach Park in Diker Heights, it'll be on Saturday night. It's at like around 6:30. Sun's going down. It's great
dusk.
for Friday and Saturday for all of October. The Parks Department is doing
Outside?
outdoor movies in Brooklyn parks. It's very cool. So,
It will
so
be very cool. Bring a
It's gonna be
sweater.
kinda brisk.
right. I mean, yeah,
Bring
make
a
sure.
sweater.
Yeah.
It's been nice this week, but yeah, make sure that you got a sweater or something to put
You
on.
just snuggle, full popping.
Right,
the
and bring a
flask.
date for.
Yeah,
for body-
exactly.
Quite a PSA.
Right.
Oh, ghetto hors
We
d'oeuvres.
care
They've been
about
on the
you.
show.
Ghetto hors d'oeuvres. It's kind of like maybe like sort of like finger food with, you know, a little sort
go
of
there.
poetry and
It's performance
and,
art, right?
So it's like a poetic theatrical performance. And it's October 8th to the 10th at Jack, which is a really cool space. Jack.
The co-founder
on
just
Waverly.
won the MacArthur grant. She's
Really?
a verified genius for set design. Yeah, Brooklyn.
They give you a piece of paper and your jeans all of a sudden.
Well, listen.
They also give you like
She
$500,000.
thought of that aluminum foil.
We all like
on the
accolades,
walls.
though. We all like accolades.
That buys
right?
a lot of
Don't you
aluminum
like
foil.
accolades?
I do like accolades.
But this is $20. Food is included. I'm not sure if like that is really gonna be like ghetto hors d'oeuvres that's served.
Yeah.
Like I'm not sure about that. But I know it's like a theatrical performance that is combining poetry and rapping, and it should be pretty cool. It almost reminds me of like maybe something that, like an Avenue Q sort of a thing.
What's your favorite ghetto hors d'oeuvre?
I think that would be like
Ritz with Cheese Whiz.
Ritz with Cheese Whiz. Ritz with Cheese
Gefilte
Whiz.
fish,
Right.
chicken livers.
Right.
Well,
This is one of my favorite movies ever.
That's a
Well,
great
you
movie.
can go see it at Habana Outpost
For free?
on
right down the street
Sunday
from Brick House.
for free. Right down the street. Just go up Fulton,
Jackie Brown.
drink some margaritas, eat some Cuban sandwiches, watch the Quentin Tarantino movie that everybody just forgets about all the time, even though it's great.
It's
Is that the one
I
with the-
feel like people are always like, oh,
the
Pulp
mother effers?
Fiction,
He has all
or
the, like when is that Sam Jackson when he drops all the mother effers?
Isn't that every movie he's ever been
Yeah,
in?
that's-
I believe he does curse in Jackie Brown.
he's like
yeah.
a gun dealer in this
Odell.
one.
Right.
And he has
Odell, yeah.
he has like that ridiculous ponytail, right?
With
Right.
the Kango hat. And
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Really? Chris
No, this
Tucker's
is-
in it for like 10 seconds.
This is
Yeah.
it's a
it
really
doesn't
good
end well
one.
for Chris Tucker.
Beaumont
Tucker needs
Uh,
work though. He's like not working no more.
Well,
He just had a
mean,
Netflix special.
He did.
Beaumont. Yeah.
Chris Tucker's doing just fine.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
But you can see a vintage
broken up
Chris
since
Tucker.
Yeah.
Jackie Brown.
and
It's been a
Jackie
while. That
Brown.
movie came
Little
out in like
Michael
2000.
Jackson.
No, it came out after Pulp Fiction, so it was like 96 or something.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was
Yeah.
still in college. I
Yeah.
urge you, I
Yeah.
implore you to go see Jackie
Yeah, really,
Brown.
if you haven't seen it.
I saw it in theater.
Pam Grier was some kind of woman.
Pam
still
Grier
is
is always.
some
She still
kind of
is. I
woman.
mean, she's gonna die that way. Like, oh my
Oh,
God,
yeah.
I love that corpse. So Feast
Chris
Bed-Stuy is that sounds kind of necrophilia, but I'm not.
Moving on.
Feast Bed-Stuy is really amazing because
It's a brunch crawl.
It's a brunch crawl, and it's done by Bridge Street, and they basically like to highlight the culinary options in Bed-Stuy. And they do that by encouraging everyone to visit a bunch of establishments. They sort of make it like a crawl. This one is going to be on Lewis Avenue. And at Beso is going to be the Wonderground Party. And those guys are going to kill it from like 3 p.m. to, I guess, like 6-ish. I guess they probably go to 6. But the whole brunch, the whole crawl is from 12 to 5. But yeah, like they're one of the options on Lewis. Because, you know, you got Beso, you got, what's the other?
There's the burger.
The Hot
place
House,
over
not the Hot House. You got Peaches.
Yeah.
You got, it's a bunch now.
Tompkins.
It used to
Yeah.
be a small amount, but now it's expanded. So I think Feast
enough
Bed-Stuy.
for a crawl.
Yes, it's enough for a crawl. So Feast Bed-Stuy definitely highlights all of the culinary options.
There's some day drinking going on.
A little bit. They got
Yeah.
good sangria at the Beso over there.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
daytime
In a nice
drinking
backyard as well. They
purposes.
have a nice backyard.
Sangria in the
Speaking of day
backyard.
drinking,
Oh
Take us
man, so
home.
your day drinking can be super classy because if you go to Sycamore out in Ditmas Park, there's going to be opera singers.
what?
Yeah, there's a thing called Opera on Tap. It's usually at Freddy's, from what I have
That's where you
have
and I
seen
hang out.
before. Yes.
But
we-
Sycamore's a great bar.
Sycamore is a great bar, and there's a flower shop too. So if you go with a date, you can be like,
Oh,
"I
I've
got
been
you
there.
flowers that I didn't just buy at the place in front of the
They've
bar."
been here.
So they are gonna be there to you, and you know it's not like a thing where you have to like sit down and have fancy $30 pancakes or something.
Yeah.
You just go to the bar. They gotta make their own Bloody Mary thing.
Right.
They'll just be serving up some food from a tempeh place, and then people will be singing opera
Maria
at the bar.
Callas really going to be there?
sounds
I
too-
somehow doubt that she will actually
Classy
be
for
there,
me.
but they'll be singing her songs. Well, you know, but it's at a bar, so it's
Oh, it
like,
can't be
you
that
know,
classy.
Right, you can just
Right.
have a drink with the opera person after that. And you
Right.
can be like, how did you do that?
And that's
Pick their
free.
brain about arias
And
and
it's,
stuff.
I mean, it's free to hang out. Yeah, like just get a drink.
This
can try
Sunday,
your
and also
own
Monday's a holiday, right? So
Yeah,
Exactly.
people have off.
So
Because everyone wants to
have,
get
like,
really wasted
all
on
of
Sunday.
yeah,
at Sycamore.
exactly.
Yes.
Right.
You can
Exactly.
sing your own opera after a few of those Make Your Own Bloody
Right,
Marys.
right.
Exactly. And also for a Sunday thing, I saw this. I said, why is there a Sunday dance party? And then I
Yeah.
remembered.
Ding,
oh,
ding, ding.
everybody is off for Columbus Day.
Yeah.
One good thing he
So
ever did.
it's gonna be
Yeah.
like an indie dance party from the dance punk and dance rock things to some of the weirder new genres like vapor wave and chill wave.
Chill wave is my favorite genre.
Chill wave is if you love catching the chill wave, then head to the Grand Victory on Sunday night. It's from You Don't Have to Settle.
What does that do?
They're the people. They do a lot of dance parties at the Grand Victory. Some pretty good DJs, like a big collective. So they'll all be spinning modern-ish indie dance tunes, and you can dance and drink and not have to worry about going to work in the morning.
Look at the names though.
do have
Mr.
to.
Disco and Dr. Mister.
And Brian Blackout. Brian Blackout's great.
Brian Blackout.
Good friend of mine.
It sounds like one of those drinking games we were speaking of.
It
getting
sounds like
late
what you
Sunday
call
night.
Brian when he's playing a drinking game.
We're not
Right.
celebrating Indigenous People Day on Monday. I'm going to be blacked out.
Right. Which is always a good way to end up on a Sunday night. Pass that with no memory.
All right, well, we've got 90 seconds of power left before we have to say goodbye to you guys. Any parting words that you want to share with your public?
I missed a cocktail on set. Go Mets.
I thought you had a flask in that pouch. I guess you were just happy to see us. But
I know, right? Look,
Yeah, I
that's
guess
my
all,
baby.
All I gotta say is, if you see somebody wearing a Dodgers hat, yell at them.
An LA Dodgers
Don't,
hat.
yeah.
Right.
Don't. I mean, I guess a
Brooklyn
Brooklyn
Dodgers
Dodgers hat is, it's a. Maybe you should put that one away for the next few days.
You're right. I don't want to get beat up.
Like, don't yell something,
And don't go to Queensville.
about how they're bad. Just yell something about how the Dodgers are bad.
Right.
Good sports bars to watch the Mets.
Rocky
Mullane's.
Sullivan's.
Mullane's.
Isn't bad. I'm trying to think of places that are just. You could go to
Sports.
Turkey's Nest. You could go to Rosemary's. I'm thinking more places where it's like
Like you said,
they will
Alibis is good,
have
too.
the game on, and they will have people who have been watching the Mets since
also
like
have
1962.
huge styrofoam cups
Like,
full
oh,
of
it-
Yes, now that the
alcohol.
styrofoam ban is gone, you can get the
Yes.
giant styrofoam
That's
beers
where Brian and I
again.
hang out together.
Alibi is another good place.
Alibi's great. Yeah.
We're out of
So-
time.
Out of time.
Let's go Mets!
Go Mets. Next week on BK Live, Brian convenes a panel of reporters to catch us all up on the local and maybe the national political scene. Is it too early to ask who might challenge Bill de Blasio for mayor? Thank you guys for being here, too. I want to say that again.
We're also going to talk to noted psychiatrist Dr. Jonathan Metzl about the psychology of gun violence, and then Michael Bellamy looks into head concussions in sports and the impact they could have down the road on high school athletics.
And we've got our next BRIC House Town Hall community meeting coming up. This one's on immigration reform, and next week we'll take you inside both the Bangladeshi and the Chinese communities in Brooklyn.
Then next Thursday, we'll get a preview of our borough's growing importance in the world of fashion when the folks from Fashion Week Brooklyn join us right here in the studio.
And Brian's been researching everyone's favorite creature to fear, the bed bug. He's produced a video. All I can say is, I'm glad it's not a live segment. Please watch Stand Up Brooklyn tonight, too, at 9 p.m. And B-Side tonight as well. Stand Up Brooklyn, a great show. Thank you very much for watching BK Live.
Free.
Have a great weekend.